Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, and welcome to New Life Live. And I want to apologize to all of the WAVA people because you heard me on Don Crow yesterday. Now, here we are again. So I hope it'll go well. But to help me out today and to help you out, we've got two stars from New Life. And one, I've never done a radio program with Laura Mangin-McDonald. Laura, how are you?
I'm great, Steve. Just glad to be here with y'all.
Well, Laura could tell you that she's the co-founder of the Christian Insight for Life organization. It's a nonprofit, and her specialty has always been early childhood trauma, and she has been such a great addition to the New Life team, and she is doing Intimacy in Marriage in Washington, D.C., July 28th with J.J. West, star number 2. JJ, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Steve. It's great to be on with you guys.
Well, JJ is a licensed marriage and family therapist and originally from Central Florida, master's and specialist degrees in counselor education. And, he's just a good guy and so competent. He is really a wonderful addition to the New Life team. So Laura does Restore. JJ does Every Man's Battle, and then together they do Intimacy in Marriage. And so often in Intimacy in Marriage, they're already familiar with the folks that come. I was just wondering, Laura, let's start with you, and then JJ, this whole marriage disconnection, becoming roommates thing, how does that happen, or what do you think is the best way to prevent it? You can go either way.
Well, for one, it's like a slow burn, right? You just don't even realize it's happening as it's happening. But we've always got to work from the point of being intentional and proactive. And if we're not, I always look out my office. I can look out my lawn here. And I always say to clients, it looks beautiful, but that's because I'm forever being proactive with it. I'm anticipating things happening. I'm being intentional in connection. We just can't. Commitment is a full-time job in marriage, but it gives us a great return on our investment for sure.
Well, and it's a day at a time commitment. Also, so often people commit for a lifetime, but you got to get up every day, and it's more difficult than others to keep that commitment. JJ, what about this drift thing into roommatism? What do you have to say about that?
Well, drift is the perfect word because just like commitment is a one day at a time process, disconnection is a one day at a time process. Yeah. You don't wake up from an idyllic marriage where everything's going great and go, you know what, I'm just going to throw it all away. It starts little by little, working longer hours, developing separate hobbies, overinvestment in the lives of your kids, all kinds of things that pull you away, and it's always a drift. The current of our society and our flesh is to drift apart, and you have to be, just as Laura said, you have to be intentional to swim against that current.
Yep. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll go to Jenna from Denver. If you want to join us, 1-800-229-3000. So glad you're here. And JJ and Laura will be in Washington, D.C., and that's going to take place July 28th for Intimacy in Marriage. If I knew of a more powerful experience that you could have to save your marriage on a weekend, I'd tell you to go there and not to ours. But I got to tell you this, I don't think there is anything more powerful to go to in a weekend than Intimacy in Marriage. We'll be back right after this.
Our marriage was just so toxic, and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
This is Steve Arterburn. Our Intimacy in Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy in Marriage workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
The next Intimacy in Marriage workshop is July 28th to the 30th in Washington, D.C. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more, or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Talked about a lot, but if you go, you're going to learn about spiritual intimacy, true intimacy and connection, communicating on a deeper level, the impact of disconnection, of course, forgiveness, attachment styles, sexually competent husbands, sexually confident wives, your family of origin, how that impacts a marriage, conflict resolution, challenges to intimacy, repairing your side of the street, and a plan for moving forward. It's a great, great time. Call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You will not regret going. All right, let's go over here to our phones, 1-800-229-3000, and let's talk to Jenna, Denver, Colorado, KRKS. Jenna, how are you today? What's going on in your life?
Oh, hi, Steve.
Hi.
Well, I can't believe I actually made the call. It sounds like I called on the right day. So I just respect your whole team, and you guys' help has just been priceless. I've probably listened to you for about 28 years, and I've wanted to call, but I just never have. And so so far, I haven't really heard anyone with a problem quite like mine.
Oh, boy.
Whenever I've been able to listen. So I just thought I wouldn't waste any more time and give you guys a call.
Okay.
So my main problem is, our marriage has been fairly toxic for pretty much close to 30 years. And my husband tells his dad everything that happens in our home. And I don't tell my parents anything. I actually moved out here. I left my family, and I moved out here where his whole family has been. Mm-hmm. And so basically our lives have been completely transparent because, he tells his dad everything. And so anyway, I jotted down a few things just to kind of give you some basic information that might help your understanding of our problem or my life. And so these are just a few of some of the more bigger ones. But so we've been married for almost 30 years. And on our honeymoon, he told me that he wouldn't have married me if he knew my legs looked like they did. And I will have to tell you, I am 5'6" and I weighed 115 pounds. So he would also tell me that my face was repulsive without makeup on. We have been to over 25 counselors in this 30 years. The last one we've been to was, it lasted for 4 years, which was the longest. And we've spent literally thousands of dollars on therapy. And anyway, so he tells his dad everything. And, every trip that we've ever had, I've always planned it, which hasn't been that many. But he has never wanted to take me anywhere for a weekend in 30 years. He threatened to kill us while we were driving on the roads. This was about 6 years ago. I called the police. He spent the weekend in jail. He took anger management classes, and I paid for counseling for myself. And after he was done with his classes, none of the therapists in the group that I was at would do a couples appointment with him.
Okay, so look here, let me just interrupt you because you could give us many more examples. I think Laura and JJ and I know exactly who your husband is. So what's the question for us?
Well, so because he talks to his dad about our problems, I just need help with setting some boundaries, some reasonable boundaries.
Let me just say this. It seems to me that him telling his dad about everything would be the least of your worries. It's a symptom, not a problem, is the way I see it. Now, JJ or Laura may see it differently, but you've got a really, really horrible situation there, and we'll let JJ and Laura comment on it. Now, I just want to ask you one question before I turn it over to them. So you spent thousands of dollars. Have you ever gone to intimacy in marriage? And
we have been to intimacy in marriage about 7 or 8 years ago.
7 or 8. Okay, and what happened?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Well, we were on our way down there. He got mad and I think a little bit anxious about the whole thing and decided he didn't want to go. So we turned around and started back home, and I was just praying, God, please just somehow let us be able to work something out so he can go back. And so somehow we got turned around, went down there, got to the hotel, walked in, but he, of course, was on the phone with his dad. And so I went into the meeting by myself. I was in there for quite a while until he finally decided to get off the phone. And he came in, and the rest of the time, once we got in our groups with the other couples, it was good. But, we get back home and he really felt like it sounded like he was going to make some big changes, but it probably only lasted 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of went back into the same routine.
Yeah. Okay. So many, many problems with him going there. Let's start with you, JJ. What are you thinking? And then we'll go to Laura.
Well, what I'm thinking is twofold. One, you described it as a toxic marriage. That's certainly true, perhaps a grave understatement, because it feels like there are at least narcissistic tendencies, if not full-blown narcissistic personality disorder. The way that he seems to have no empathy for you, no care for how his words would impact you, no pursuit of you. There seems to be something significantly wrong with the way that he approaches relationship. Not just a dynamic between the two of you, that some sort of relational pattern that the two of you could work out, because I would assume that over the 30 years you have probably mentioned many times how much it impacts you when he goes and tells things to your dad that you would not want him to share with him, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're pretty intimate things that he'll share, and now his dad is sending me texts, telling me what I need to do to make things better.
Well,
so he has no regard for how it's impacting you. He's not responding at all, and the little response that he's offered, like when you came back from the intimacy and marriage workshop, is all short-lived. It's not fundamental change within him. It's window dressing. I'm going to do this to kind of get you off my case for a few weeks, but I can't sustain that because it's not a fundamental change in the way that I view the relationship and the way that I pursue you.
What do you think she should do? What's her best going forward, given all that we know here?
Yeah, you're going to have to set very clear boundaries with him. And you got to remember, Jenna, that boundaries are not for the other person; they're for you. It's you deciding, this is what I'm no longer willing to allow into my world, into my life. And so if you will not respect my request to keep things private between the two of us, I'm not going to be, excuse me, I'm not going to be sharing those things with you. I'm not going to be having intimate conversations with you because you're not safe. You've proven to me that you're not safe for me to share intimate things with you, because then you go and share them with your father. And that makes me feel unsafe. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to participate in intimate conversations with you until you've proven to me that you can hold that intimacy. You can hold my confidence.
Yeah.
I'm not going to continue to engage with you in ways where you can abuse me verbally, emotionally. I'm going to keep a distance from you because you've proven again that you're not safe. Until you can prove otherwise, I have to put that boundary in place.
If you share intimate things, they're not going to be any more intimate
Mhm.
things to
Yeah,
share, is what we're saying.
yeah.
Let's hear from Laura. Laura, what are you thinking here?
Well, Jenna, sister, girl, if we could see, if you came in my office, the first question I would ask you is, help me understand why you're putting up with this all these years. What's going on inside of you? What is your core belief that says you have to tolerate such dismissive, harsh, mean, cruel things? Because we could talk about your husband until Jesus comes back. What he, and it sounds like you've been to 25 counselors, you've done the, marriage intensive. I would say, what's going on in you? What's going on inside of you, my dear?
Well,
we
have. Yeah, we have 3 children, and one of them's dating, and they come from a wonderful family, and I basically lived most of my life now with this kind of a lifestyle than I have.
Wait a minute, your
before.
husband comes from a wonderful family?
No,
your husband comes from
our daughter's boyfriend.
But what does that have to do with you putting up with this?
Well, if we were to split, it would make us, show that we have some huge insecurities at home, which we do. But I did say for better or for worse, and it has gotten worse, and I feel like I've drawn a lot closer to God through this. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be able to get through each single day,
Okay, so, but wait, when you said for better or worse, that meant you were going to hang in there with him, but you wouldn't necessarily just hang in there and do nothing that could change things or protect yourself. You wouldn't expect someone that every morning she woke up, there was a gun to her head. You wouldn't expect her to just live with that. But this guy is not just a normal man who is cruel, uncaring, and mean. He has a disorder, and you have had to suffer with that. And so I think from my perspective, there needs to be a demand for him getting help, not you getting help. Well, you need to get help so that you don't put up with this. But what I'm saying is this isn't all just couples work here. He ought to be on his own treatment program with his own therapist who knows this guy is in trouble. And he's put you in trouble, in fact, to the point of threatening to kill you. What a horrible thing. But I do think Laura's on the right track with you, that it's not just for better or worse and then you let it be worse. There are things you can do that give you the greatest chance that he must simply change. And I wouldn't put up with it. And I just have to wonder about his sexual integrity. Is this guy faithful to you? Is he?
I believe he is. I know he did struggle at the first part of our marriage with pornography. We found it on the computer. He says he is not involved in that anymore, which I have no evidence of that. But, his backup is his dad. all he has to do is say, something about what I did at the house that he didn't approve of, and then go tell his dad, and then he gets, all of this, reinforcement, like, yeah, you're right, she's this, she's that, because he's never liked me the whole time.
Jenna, it all goes back to what's going on. What do you believe about you, and why are you tolerating this? And then my next question would be, what type of sisters do you have around you to support you? Because you keep on defaulting back to something inside of you that says, I'll tolerate this for better or for worse. And that is not God's design for you.
And there are people thinking, wait a second, that's not very Christian. You're just supposed to be there no matter what. I disagree. You simply must not put yourself in danger with a man who could threaten to kill you or do that at any time. We'll be back right after this. 1-800-229-3000.
It had become very apparent that some of the things I was involved with were taking over my life.
In today's world, men are barraged with inappropriate content and images all day, every day. Some say that certain behaviors are just no big deal. It's just part of being a guy. But it's simply not true. It's a battleground for every man, and the opportunities to fail are everywhere. New Life's Every Man's Battle Workshop can help.
After 7 years, he just one weekend, a completely changed man.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Workshop.
He said, I think this is something that every man should go to. Married, dating, it was definitely life-changing.
The Every Man's Battle Workshop is being held online as a one-day event Saturday, July 8th. To find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com.
I just can't say enough of what New Life has done for our marriage.
1-800-NEWLIFE.
I've been listening to New Life for many years, gone to a few workshops. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Healing, 100 Days from Freedom from Shame, and 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and I just want to finish up here, Jenna, by suggesting that you let us help you find a counselor that can give you some really great direction, support, and then also I think if you went to Restore, that would give you some insight and then connection with women. Some of these women stay in a group every week for years. That would be helpful for you. But I want you to see that initiating or demanding change in this kind of situation is not being an unchristian wife. In fact, it could lead to him getting better. Whenever there's a narcissist, we have to ask ourselves, what was this horrific wound that was experienced, which often, real often, is the case. What was that wound? And most likely, old dad had some part of that, either neglecting the guy, your husband's hurt and pain. Maybe he was traumatically hurt or impacted, or he either neglected or he was so overly controlling and demanding that he never, ever has gotten over not being enough. Well, if you'll hold on, I want that. Now, we have a book. It's entitled Understanding and Loving someone with with narcissistic personality disorder. And I'm going to send that to you, and I hope that that's going to be helpful. And, I was just asked to do a podcast for Christianity.com, and they wanted 4 podcasts on narcissism. I'm going to be recording those today, and it's just so interesting that would be our first caller today. If you need some help, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And if you want to join us here, it's 1-800-229-3000. Now, JJ is going to be leading a free Every Man's Battle webinar this Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Time. It's a man's guide to sexual integrity. Men and women are welcome to attend anonymously, and it's free, and you just have to register. You can visit the Every Man's Battle page at newlife.com. 1-800-229-3000 to join us here, and let's go to Mary. Mary's calling from Raleigh, North Carolina, and she listens to this as a podcast. How can we help you today, Mary?
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, it's so great to talk to you. I've been listening since 1989.
There you go.
Lived in D.C. at the time and listened on WAVA. So it's an honor to be speaking to you. When I first started listening, I came from a home where I didn't know any of the vocabulary you were speaking, and I'm so thankful to have learned from you and many other people. So thank you. I love listening to when you talk to women who are going through things, and you always encourage them to build a team around them of other women. Right. And I'm so very thankful to have, we call each other a tribe.
There you go.
So thankful to have that tribe in my life. 15 years ago, I was in a mental health crisis, and these women uplifted me and supported my family, and it's just wonderful to be able to live through that and know that we're there for each other. One of the friends that was there for me has always been a single mom. Her son is grown now, but I would say for about the last 6 years, she has really been suffering, maybe from some depression or something. She has a Christian counselor, and I just saw her recently. I'm a teacher, so I see most of my friends in the summer. But we had lunch, and I was not happy with how she seemed. I felt that she was depressed still, and she's been going, faithfully to her appointments, but she stays in the house. She's been able to work from home, and that's all she does. She never really leaves the house. One of the reasons that I hadn't seen her in a while is because, I still have to maintain my own healthiness, mentally. I want to be there for my husband and my family.
Right.
I'm a teacher. I give a lot when I teach, and she doesn't mean to be. I think she's just suffering, but she's very draining. So there's always something medical wrong. Mm-hmm. And the thing that kills me about this is I've been there. I have had my body be very sick and hurt because of depression. Yeah. And I want to help her, but I want to know how to help her, but keep myself healthy. Another really good friend of ours has just recently told her that she needs to take a break. And they've been friends for 30-something years, but she just lost her mom. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, we're all having issues, but we need help.
Right. Well, that friend telling her, this other friend that she needs to take a break is a great entry point for you. If you really want a different kind of relationship, well, somebody stepped up before you. And I think that's really, because now I don't think you'd want to just say, I'm out of here after another. So we'll talk about it after the break here, and we will hear from JJ and Laura. You're listening to New Life Live, and really glad that you're with us here today. Everything that we do to try to help people transform their lives, not get better, but transformation. You used to think this way, now you think that way. You used to be out of options, now you have a lot of options. And you take one that seems to be the way God is pulling you, messages from other people, from within inside. That's what we want to see happen, that leads to total transformation. We'll be back.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and I said this could be a good opportunity to come along and support her and suggest and maybe even do some things with her now that there's this evidence that, you know, she's a little bit overbearing and one of the friends needs to take a break, and you could be part of that. But let's hear from Laura. Laura, what are you thinking here? It might be helpful in this situation with a very, very draining friend.
Well, first of all, Mary, I really want to validate. It can be a beatdown, too, when you show up and you think, okay, today I'm going to really be able to lift this person up, and you come in with this plan, and she kind of deflects maybe everything that you're saying. That's what I'm reading into as you're saying this. So it sounds like then you're struggling with, gosh, how can I support her, but then not just be drained myself, right? I would.
There's just so many things.
So many things that she comes back no matter.
Well, she
no
will
matter
listen.
What you suggest,
it's just
that it down.
It's more that she just has so much going on, like physically, surgeries and then she just doesn't want to leave the house. So you're right. It is some deflection, but it's like there's more.
So do you feel like that the onus is on you to have to resolve this for her, that you listen and you just think, I don't know what to say to relieve her of her pain?
I do not. I feel like there's enough of us, but I think I just know what it's like to be in that exact place. And I know that good Christian counseling pulled me out of it after a long time, but it was good, solid Christian counseling. And part of me just feels like maybe she's not in the right counseling relationship.
Yeah, right.
Could you say that in love to her?
Well, that's my question for you.
Yeah,
well,
I think that would be.
How do I say that?
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
Just the fact that you've listened to this program so many times, I'll tell you something. You can quote me on here. There are some really ineffective counselors out there, and that's why when I mentor someone, I say, you need to see how you're doing here, because if you're not very good, you need to quit and do something else, because a lot of people that are not in that room with you are counting on you to be great. It's not just the person you're counseling. It's a lot of people impacted by their behavior. And so you could say to her, listen, I don't know if you know this, but not everybody's great, or somebody's better at a special issue than someone else. And and that could begin the discussion. JJ, what are you thinking here?
I want to jump on board with that idea, because it may be that they're a good counselor, but just not in that particular field. I do a lot of work with couples dealing with sexual integrity. I don't do a lot of work in depression. So I wouldn't be a good person to come to if that's your main issue. But if it's, sexual integrity, you can come to me, right? So you want to find that out. And I think it would be good for you as her friend to come alongside and say, hey, when I went through similar things that you are going through, Christian counseling helped me. This is what happened. Here's how it made it better. Here's how I changed. Do you, friend, feel like you are changing? Do you feel like you're benefiting in similar ways from your counseling? And if she says no, I don't feel like she's nice and I enjoy talking with her, but I don't feel like anything's really changing, then it would be appropriate to say, maybe you need to consider looking for someone who specializes in the things that you're going through. Then JJ, I want to add one other thing. Oh, sorry. Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
No, well, I was just going to ask, isn't it appropriate for her to say, it doesn't seem like you are experiencing the kind of changes that
right. Absolutely.
I went through,
from my perspective. Right.
Okay.
I'm not seeing those changes, but I don't live in your head. So if you're seeing changes, tell me about that. Right. But I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing the improvement. Yeah, absolutely. That can be wonderful, helpful advice from someone else, because we don't see our blind spots. So it's really helpful for people who love us to go, hey, there's something happening here that you may not be aware of, right?
And what was that other thing you wanted to say before I interrupted?
The other thing I wanted to say is, in terms of this whole draining process, it's the same thing you hear every time you get on an airplane. The stuff that we ignore when we're sitting there fiddling with our phones and whatever, and the flight crew is going through their pre-flight instructions, and they say, in the event of emergency, mask will drop down. First, put your own mask on, then help someone who's traveling with you, right? So in other words, you've got to make sure that you're caring for yourself. Jesus modeled this for us. Every morning, it was his practice early in the morning to go and spend time with the Father before he plunged himself into ministry to others. And so you need to make sure before you spend time with your friend that you're letting God fill you, so that you're not going to her out of deficit, and now she's taking the last little bit that you needed for yourself or for your family. So make sure that you're spending adequate time letting God fill you.
All right. So I want to
appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that when my
sorry. Hold on. Hold on. You want us to know that Mary,
when Mylan was on, Mylan Yurkovich.
Yeah.
And he was helpful with anxiety. I've never flown. I love the analogy, but I've never flown because I've been too afraid to. That's my one last thing that I haven't done out of my anxiety.
Yeah.
But no, I get the anxiety. I get that analogy.
Well, okay. And by the way, I am more relaxed on a plane than anywhere else in my life. Isn't that sad that you can't get on one? But it's the most relaxed because, see, I always meet the pilot and I see that he's much more trained to help the plane stay in the air. I can't do anything to keep the plane in the air, so I just let him handle it, and I go sit there and read a magazine or a book. And I would love that for you, but of course the only way to be able to fly is you have to take a little class in Dallas with American Airlines, and then you have to get on a plane. Boy, I'd love for you to do that and be free in that area. Anyway, that's something else, but right now you can be a big help to your friend, and I hope and pray that you can do this. I'm going to send you this this book about understanding and loving this person with depression, and there may be another one in the series that would really work well for you. You hold on and I'll get that to you. Speaking of depression, I've never known him to have it one day of his life. Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio. Larry, aren't you glad I said
that was a good. I like that.
Yeah, what if I said his guy's most depressing?
Yeah.
No, you have such a great attitude. And what do you have for us today, Larry?
Well, first thing I want to say is part of the reason I don't get depressed, I get to work with people like JJ and Laura.
Yeah, they're great.
They are the best, and they are going to be doing this workshop together. And I am so excited. It's going to be better than we ever thought it could be. So anyway, just for what that's worth. I've got a testimony. We're doing the workshop at Every Man's Battle in August online. No, we're doing the workshop in July. I'm all mixed up. August online.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to think I can't get anything online or this is not as good, because listen to this. I was really excited to attend this workshop. I read the book years ago. It helped me so much on my journey to deliverance. I've received so many tools to work with to maintain my sexual integrity. Looking back to the young boy I was who walked through so many challenges, I now understand why I acted out and acted in. I'm so encouraged about the future, what the future holds for me as I embrace this knowledge and apply it to my life. I leave here as a warrior, dedicated and totally committed to train and battle for the life Christ died to give me. I'm forever changed. I will never retreat. I'm grateful for the impact Every Man's Battle and New Life have made in my life.
That's pretty wonderful to hear.
Yeah, to hear that a guy now gets it. He looked back on his life and he understands what's causing him to do the things he did. And he can now deal with it, and he's dealing with it. So, guys, this is your chance. We don't set the bar any lower than sitting at your home and not having to travel. You just can be there online with a group of friends that you will learn. And it's just the best. So please figure this out, sign up. And women, you can help him to sign up. Encourage him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wives, you need to do that. I know you do. But please do it more.
And Larry, I believe that one of the most shocking things is that you're not shamed when you come. And in fact, the shame is lifted. It's like it's transformed into a new strength for you. It's something you've dealt with and know how horrible it is. And once we tell you why you don't have to live that way, it's powerful. It's a powerful way to live. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to transform your life.
Steve?
Yeah?
Can I come back for about 10, 20 seconds and tell
We'll
about
give you
the
30.
matching gift? Okay.
We're going to give you 30.
Thanks.
All right. Or a minute even. All right. We'll be back right after this.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We are back, and Larry is back, and you wanted to update us on that matching fund, Larry.
Yeah, I did. 325,000 was the beginning. We're at 273,000. Folks, we got $42,000 left to cross that finish line.
We're getting there.
Yeah, it's been slow the last few days, so I'm just appealing, asking folks to please consider this. Remember, when you give your gifts, then they total 42,000. New Life will get 84,000.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of money. It goes for a lot of good things, and it will help people in a lot of ways. Scholarships, one of the ways that we can help people. So, thank you for giving, everybody who has, and I hope you'll keep it going for us.
Yeah, and it really started with the generosity of folks that created the fund to be matched, and we're so grateful for them. All right, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to do another program after this one. But before we do that, we want to go right over here and let's talk to Priscilla from Washington, D.C., listening on Sirius XM. Hi, Priscilla. How you doing today?
Hello.
How could we help?
Thank you for taking my call. I'm a little nervous talking about this.
Okay.
I'm married to a good man. He loves me. He loves the Lord. He's faithful. He's been a good father for about 17 years. He has a mild cognitive disability. When we got married, it's deteriorated, but for the last 6 years, there has been no intimacy in our marriage. And the first 2 years, I was very bitter. And then I think I spent 2 years crying. And then I spent the last 2 years kind of focusing on myself. And the Lord has been helping me develop healthy relationships with friends that can help me fulfill some emotional needs that I'm not receiving.
Yeah.
Some of the ways that the intimacy has not been, the behaviors are lack of hygiene, not showering. This is my husband. And
okay, well, let me ask you this. What has he been willing to do or not do to help that problem? Anything?
Well, I have been going to counseling. I have not pressured him. I've mentioned it about 3 times or 4 times within the last 6 years. I have told him that I'm going to counseling. And so
6 years, huh?
There's a lack of communication, a desire to communicate, and I don't know if it started off as a physical problem, but I don't know. But I know that there's behaviors that are leading me. So now I'm in separate bedrooms, but the behaviors in the beginning were clearly telling me that there was not a desire to engage.
Yeah. Okay. I would like, because we don't have a lot of time, JJ to step in here and talk about this. He does talk about it at Every Man's Battle. What do you think, JJ?
Mm-hmm. So, Priscilla, 2 questions. One, are you saying that his lack of intimacy is somehow tied to the cognitive issues that he faces?
No, the cognitive issues are what inhibits him from communicating about it, I believe, mildly. He is able to communicate, but the communication part is the hard part.
Okay. In other words, in terms of talking through what can we do
Yes.
to make things better?
Yes.
Okay. So that kind of leads me to the second question, because Steve asked you, what has he been willing to do and then you responded with all the things that you have done rather than what he has been willing to do. So has he been not willing to do anything to change?
Well, I mean, because of the first 4 years of the not bathing and not coming to bed before midnight, those were clear things to me, and so it created bitterness with me. And I have tried to talk about it, but at this point, because we don't talk about it, we can't jump into anything because there's no talking about anything about.
Okay. So Priscilla, what happens if you were to, tonight, this weekend, you were to sit down with your husband and say, hey, I need to have a serious conversation with you because I want to talk through what are our options for making our relationship better. What would he do?
He sits there silently.
Okay. All right. So he participates in the conversation he doesn't walk away, he doesn't get in the car and leave, but he doesn't
Correct.
communicate. He doesn't verbally respond to you.
Correct.
Okay. So you can either say to him, whatever his first name is, we'll call him Steve. Steve.
Perfect.
I need to hear from you. I appreciate the fact that you're willing to listen to me, but I also need to hear from you what it is that you are willing to work on, what it is that you're willing to change in order for us to have a better marriage. And if he's not willing to speak to you one-on-one, can he come to counseling with you? You've said you've invited him. You may need to be more forceful with that. Instead of just inviting him, you may need to say, Steve, we need to do this for the hope of our marriage.
So I'll just address that, is that I do serve him. I love him. I honor him and respect him. But I feel like I don't want to be a nag, and I can't force you to do something because it's not going to be.
Without a doubt.
If you're not in it, if you're not in it, it's not going to last. And so I have done that. I've cried and say, this really hurts me, and please. And so I'm kind of like empty a little bit there. So
yeah, and I don't want you to be a nag, and Laura doesn't want you to be a nag. But you saying this is really important for us to do this together is not being a nag, nor is you asking him, tell me why it is that you're not wanting to do this. What's going on? I need to hear from you.
He doesn't talk. He won't say anything. He'll listen, but he might shed a tear, but he won't. He literally
JJ,
say anything.
Isn't this classic avoidant attachment? I mean,
doesn't
it sound like classic avoidant attachment?
Sure.
And the avoidant attachment hears and sees and is present, but they just don't have the bandwidth to go in. They need to learn how to look in their heart and understand what's happening. That's a learned behavior.
Yeah, because all the red flags are going off in his head when he hears, when he hears Priscilla complain. It's like, oh, this is bad. Okay, I'll just sit here and wait till it's over.
Wah. Yeah, I mean, he really kind of goes into this frozen state in a way.
That is exactly it.
Yes. So that is. It looks and feels so dismissive, and it looks, but he is stuck. I promise you. I'm not excusing his behavior.
Right.
I'm explaining it. And this is where you need to get with a therapist who knows and understands avoidant attachment, because he just doesn't. He's looking at you like a deer in the headlights, and every time all it does is reinforce with you, well, he doesn't care, or he would have done something.
All right. I wish we had more time. I'm going to send you How We Love, and hope that that's going to help you see some things. If you'd like to join us on the next program, 1-800-229-3000. If you need help, it's 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.